three unique words in this week's Torah portion, which begins, since, heed, and listen. The Hebrew terms are V'hoyom, Eikev, Tishme'un. What is the novelty about these three unique words? So in order that we can able to understand, let's go through the pasuk. It says in the opening verse, it says, V'hoyom, Eikev, Tishme'un. And it shall be, because since you heed, listen to these ordinances, the commandments, the Torah, the statutes, all the laws that Hashem has bestowed upon us. So these three English words reveal to a beautiful progression. First of all, the word since. And since teaches about a bracha, a blessing, that's not something random. It's actually something that we have to acknowledge. It's a relationship between our actions and Hashem's revealed brachas. Living according to the Torah that creates a vessel, a keli, to receive His goodness. So that is the since. It can also mean in other different words that since is also after the fact. Like if you have to follow exactly what the city might have told you to pull a permit, or to do exactly what the inspector have notified you, that you should have listened, you should have paid attention, you should have followed the city codes, you should have followed the progress and followed the process. So that way, it could have been 100% complete process. And that leads to the word heed. Heed does not just only mean to listen or to hear exactly all what we would need to able to follow, but it's actually even more. It's called paying attention, taking something very seriously, and you have to put it into practice. Torah is meant to transform our lives, not merely to inform our minds. And then you have the word listen. Listen is a little more than the same meaning as heeding, but listen, it's very different than heeding, because heeding is paying attention more. Listening is just listening. Listening is just basically the beginning. Is the beginning of every relationship. So before speaking and arguing or understanding everything, the Torah fits us to ask us to listen with humility, openness, and trust. So a practical lesson for this, that what we can able to understand, is that you have three words that follows. It could have been exactly when you say since, heed, and listen. Why not just the other way around? To listen, heed, and then since. Because the since, as we mentioned, is about the flow of the blessing that we're able to receive. Just so this restored portion, Hashem give us, Moshe was addressing everything, all of what God had bestowed upon us, and what we have done through our times, our journeys, during the times in the Midbar, was about the manna, was all about the luchos, the second luchos, the egel hazahav, and also the idea of the Shema of that we mentioned in davening and this Torah portion is the second Shema b'hoya u'shemaya. So with all of this is to totally understand there are various meanings of these words of the unique words of b'hoya, Eikev, Tishme'un. But the unique thing is about the word Eikev. What is the meaning of the word Eikev? Eikev defines exactly many things. It could mean heal. It can also mean because. Like for example, like it mentions by Avraham, Eikev asher shema Avraham bekeli. Because if Avraham should have listened to me, so and so, as I mentioned in that Parsha about the story of the Eikev, here tells you an idea of what Rashi explains. So first, exactly the very meanings of the word Eikev. There's a Hebrew word Eikev, has several meanings, which should carry important lessons. It can mean because or since. And that's the simple meaning of the opening of this, in this context of the beginning of this week's verse and this week's parsha, which is V'hoyo Eikev Tishme'u, because you listen. It expresses the consequence and the continuity. Then you have the word heal. Heel literally means the heel of the foot. But this is something very important. That is what it begins at the Torah portion. Rashi famously explains that it hints us about the mitzvahs that people tended to trample under their heels. And the Torah promises the blessings when we are careful, even with these mitzvahs, with the mitzvahs that seem small or significant. And then it goes the following behind the situation that follows the rest of the body, because the heel is the particles, it's the, as to say, the particles or the subsequent parts of our bodies that sophisticates with the mind. The mind actually sophisticates everything, all of the movements, parts of the body. You move your hand, your mind is the one that is controlling it. Your hand. The same as the foot, the same as the regel, the same as the eyes, the same as the nose, the same as the mouth. The articulation uses the mind to articulate all parts of the body. That's what it says, the three levushim, thoughts, speech, and actions. It's all a part in ourselves. And those are like the garments inside of our bodies. The gimel levushim, the three investments. And the end of the result, so the following behind that, this teaches us about humility. A Jew should recognize the true greatness that comes from following Hashem's will, even the one who does not fully understand it. Then you have the end result, which is Eikev. Eikev can also refer to what comes afterwards, the outcome, or the consequence. So the Torah reminds us that every mitzvah has a lasting result. The lasting results are even if we do not see them immediately. And then comes the footsteps. The footsteps, the Eikev is related to the footsteps in the walking, which there's a little some progressing in Avodas Hashem and divine service of Hashem, one step at a time. The spiritual growth is achieved through consistent daily effort. And then comes Eikev the Meshicha. The sages uses the related expression Eikev the Meshicha, the footsteps or heels of Mashiach, to describe the final generation before the Geula, before the redemption. And the Chassid explains that our generation, through spiritual challenge, has the unique mission of Mashiach to describe, has a unique mission of completion, the final steps that bring the Geula. So there's a Hasidic thought about this, and it was brought down by the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov explains that the heel is the last sensitive part of the body. Likewise, a Jew should serve Hashem not only when it's inspired, but even when the heart feels like a heel, with simple faith, consistency, and commitment. It is precisely this steadfast service that draws down the greatest blessings. So the key message for Parshas Eikev, even the small mitzvahs that seem insignificant when performed with consistency, humility, and joyful obedience, have the power to bring abundant blessings and hasten the coming of Mashiach.